And for the first time, there was a new school of thought that was chemically induced that made people question the very society they lived in. By 1960, the President of the United States was only 42 years old. Can you imagine? DMX is older than that. And he was going to usher in a new era of peace. He was going to avoid the Cold War. He was going to end segregation. And they blew his out in front of everyone in Dallas. This country was never the same. Right now, if you had them prepare themselves in whatever way they would have to prepare themselves to come to battle, and I bet what I have everything I have that meatloaf. Are there any good white people in the world? There may be, but it doesn't matter, and you know why. No matter how good an individual white person may be, they have an obligation to look out for the best interest of the white. I seen this dude screaming, crying, saying you __ did it right now. I don't want to hear nothing from you self-righteous lips Democrats. We were coming for you. Knowing damn well the person that did it, y'all know what it is. Betty White. Listen up. We gotta talk about how Charlie Kirk's fans are out here pointing fingers at black and brown folks for what went down. All because people aren't shedding tears for a man who once claimed black people were better off before civil rights, since in his eyes they committed fewer crimes. That's the kind of statement that hits like a slap in the face. And let's not forget, this is the same crowd that mocked the deaths of Breonna Taylor, Tamir Rice, George Floyd, and so many others who were taken too soon. This shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad. It was evil. But what happened? Something changed. They committed less crime. Now suddenly, they're furious that folks aren't rushing to mourn Charlie Kirk. The hypocrisy is screaming loud. Black celebrities are stepping into the conversation, and the split is real. Some are trying to keep it classy, but others aren't sugarcoating a thing. They're flat out saying they feel no sympathy for Kirk. 50 Cent even dropped a post so wild and unfiltered that he was forced to delete it after the backlash. And now some of Charlie Kirk's very own followers are out here making threats on his life. Yes, his own people turning hostile. Men, women, and children were killed in violent lynch. That's your explanation. But racial terror permeated American culture for hundreds of years. Black America is worse than it has been. But notice this. They had zero words of compassion for the victims of the Colorado school shooting that happened literally just hours after Charlie was gunned down. The silence there is deafening. Amanda Seales didn't hold back at all. She said straight up she feels no empathy for Charlie, and she meant it. On the flip side, Dr. Umar jumped in playing it cautious, warning black folks not to celebrate Kirk's death, trying to keep the message more controlled. It's like two totally different worlds clashing in real time. Worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of unfortunately some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. So, what do these reactions really reveal? Is this just about shock value to make headlines, or is it exposing something raw and ugly about the deep divisions in America? Stay locked in because I'm about to break down exactly what these celebs said, what posts got wiped off the internet, and why their words are rattling the conversation around Charlie Kirk's assassination. Clinton in the 1990s, it was all about empathy and sympathy. I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that it does a lot of damage. But the first major voice to jump into the chaos was none other than 50 Cent. And you already know he wasn't coming with some polished PR statement or fake condolences. In classic 50 fashion, he went raw, posting a screenshot of the exact moment Charlie Kirk was shot. His caption, "Want to know how I feel about this? I don't know, but I do know it's a good time to shut the F up now." That one line set the internet on fire. Kirk's supporters completely lost it. They accused 50 of being cold-blooded, heartless, and straight up celebrating Kirk's death. Comment sections exploded with angry fans screaming that 50's career was finished and demanding he'd be canceled once and for all. Some even crossed the line, posting disturbing threats like, "Hope you are next." Things got real ugly real fast. The heat must have been too much, because within hours 50 quietly pulled the post down like it never happened. But here's the twist. I have watched any number of people of all kinds of stripes, people theologians, politicians, people themselves activists, all kinds of people on the conservative right talk about empathy, and they talked about empathy as if it was a pariah empathy, as if it was a moral failing, and they referred to empathy as a weakness, and it's interesting that they would call themselves Christian and be anti-empathy because that is a core tenet of Christianity, so That is being a Christian without the empathy is like being a sushi chef without the fish. But empathy is apparently a weakness to a lot of people. And you never know, but I have always believed and hold this now that empathy is quintessentially human. Human. It is the core of humanity. It certainly is the core of Christianity if you call yourself Christ-like. But how is it that you can despise empathy? That you think it is a weakness, that you think that people are susceptible to it, like it's the cold or the flu, and that you despise empathy, but would like it when someone who you love is hurt or killed. We can either decide to be human and empathic whether we relate to like or understand a person or not. But in America, nothing is more American. Nothing is more quintessentially who we are than violence against people we disagree with, and then having a lack of empathy when we don't relate to them. We don't like them when they don't look like us. I don't know how you can be a Christian nation and call yourself a Christian nation. Exalt the versions of Christianity, but only be empathic when they look like you. That's not Christianity. That's not humanity. That's tribalism. Not everyone thought 50 was out of pocket. Plenty of people defended him, saying Charlie Kirk built his entire brand on mocking black pain, spreading racist conspiracy theories, and clowning the deaths of black victims of police brutality. Their take was simple. Don't expect sympathy when you never gave it to us. One fan flat out said, I'm not feeling no sympathy for someone who would call me every slur in the book. Sorry, bookie. Another fired back with, all this outrage is performative nonsense, but when parents lose their kids in school shootings, the silence is deafening. The internet was buzzing with raw emotions like this. Then came D.L. Hewley, and trust he wasn't about to hold back. I can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk. First of all, Charlie Kirk don't believe in empathy. He said it's a bad thing. He said it's some new age made up, __. He also said people got to be sacrificed in order to protect guns. If he was saying that while fighting for reparations, I may have a little bit of empathy. But this white-on-white violence, he died. Damn, B. Life comes at you fast.